elementary leaders. Thank you for watching this weekly Connect. I do hope that it helps you for this Sunday's lesson. We are going to be continuing on in the miracles of Jesus, and this week we are talking about how Jesus heals, and most particularly we're going to be talking about how Jesus heals the blind man. So we are in John 9. If you're the storyteller, there's a fun little optional activity in there to do if you want to mix some mud and act out things, but as always, you're the storyteller, you do what works for you. If you are going to do that, you do need to have the supplies, bring the supplies from home. They will not be here for you. After the story, well, let's talk a little bit more about the story. So when I was writing over this story in John 9, I was thinking again how it's so amazing that this man is living his life and he thinks his biggest problem is that he's blind, right? It keeps him out of doing things with friends. It keeps him away from people. He has to sit and beg on the streets. People all over the town know that he's blind, and that's just how he's lived his whole life. And that's what he thinks his biggest problem. And once again, when Jesus comes, he's pointing out to the man, sure, you're blind and that stinks. That's not good. I'll fix that. But most importantly, what is most important is your sin nature. And time again, when we're going over these miracles, we're showing how Jesus performs these miracles, but he's taking care of the little problems. He's not addressing yet the big problem, which is our sin, which is what he came to earth to address, right? So I was reading over it again, and then I thought, isn't it funny that the Pharisees, like this man that they all knew was blind for forever, he goes in and he tells them, Jesus just healed me. I'm not blind anymore. Now they knew him for forever. They knew he was blind. They now know he's not blind. And what goes to their mind? They think, well, that was a sin. He did it on the Sabbath, right? This is the day of the rest. Isn't he sinning by doing that? I mean, I just feel like sometimes we get so caught up in the little stuff that we can't see the big picture, and I feel like this is what the Pharisees were doing. I mean, obviously there's deeper rooted problems with them and what they're worried about, giving up their power and their security and things such as that as well. But can't we all be kind of like that every once in a while, where we can't see the forest through the trees, I guess, is to use an old phrase. They're so worried about Jesus doing things on the Sabbath that they don't see this miracle, this amazing thing that has happened, that he's no longer blind. And the blind man sees, oh my goodness, I'm not blind anymore. This is so amazing. This is the best thing that ever happened. Not really completely understanding that really the best thing that ever happened is going to be when Jesus dies on the cross and fixes that relationship, puts him in a right relationship again with God, the Father. So it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into this, but it was very interesting when I was reading this. But anyways, read it over, do that. We have a game when you go back to your classroom, blind man walking game. It is going to be like you just have a kid, you pick a kid to be it, and they're just going to close their eyes. And then you pick somebody in the crowd to be the blind man. And the person in the crowd, or the person that's sitting in the circle, or however you want to do it, is going to just quietly whisper, Jesus restores. And the blind man that's in the middle is going to have to try and figure out who it is that's saying that. So you can play it like that. You can also, because we're talking about the blind man, if you want to play the game and just pair up the kids and have them, one of them close their eyes, or if you even want to bring some blindfolds in, and have them go around the room, however you want to do it. There's just lots of games that we can do with this, but it's all written out in your curriculum. And then we have a craft. So when the kids come in, they'll each have a piece of paper like this that has the blind man and the eyes. They'll have to cut that out, and then they'll have a brad. They'll cut that out, and they'll color it. So what they're going to want to color is so this is the mud, and then obviously the eyes however they want, and then these are the eyes closed. And then they can color this however they want, whatever color they want their guy to be. And then, and they have to cut out this inside part. So they cut out that, but make sure that they cut this inside part out as well. And what I always tell my kiddos, if you're having a hard time putting it through the paper, if you're having a hard time getting it through, if you lay it on the carpet and poke a hole in it, that'll be a good way for you to start your scissor hole. Okay, and that's the same thing with this brad as well. If you lay it on the carpet and you poke the brad through, you should be able to do that. So what you're going to do is there's a little circle on your nose. You just poke it through. I mean, you guys are going to know how to do this. It's so It'll be so easy. And then they can take this craft home and they can retell the story. And of course, you open the brads like this. They can retell the story. How the man was blind. And then Jesus came, oh, I turned it the wrong way. And then Jesus came and put the mud on his eyes. And then he could see. So that is going to be our craft this week. I think that's it. Next week, obviously there's a prayer in there if you have some time for a prayer. Next week we're going to be going back and talking about Jesus's very first miracle while he was on earth, which was turning the water into wine. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. That is in John 2, 1 through 11. So if you want to read ahead. I think that's it. Thank you so much for blessing us as Crossroads and blessing the kids with all of your knowledge and all of the time and preparation you put into teaching them. We're just so thankful. So have a blessed week. Have fun preparing and see you Sunday.